Many people believe that crying is a sign of weakness or a lack of emotional control. We are often told from a young age to dry our eyes and be brave. However, modern psychology suggests that the ability to cry easily is actually a complex and even powerful trait. It is not about being fragile. Instead, it is deeply connected to how our brains process information and how we connect with the world around us. To understand the psychology of people who cry easily, we must look at biology, personality traits, and the way our society views emotions over time. One of the most common reasons why some people cry more than others is a personality trait called high sensitivity. About 20% of the population are considered highly sensitive people. These individuals have a nervous system that is more attuned to the environment. They notice small details that others might miss, like a change in someone's tone of voice or the subtle mood of a room. For a highly sensitive person, a beautiful piece of music or a sad news story can feel incredibly intense. Their brains process sensory input more deeply, which often leads to a physical, emotional response like tears. This is not a flaw in their character, it is simply how they are built. They are like a high-definition camera that picks up every shadow and light. Because they process so much information, their emotional cup fills up faster than others. Crying is also a vital tool for emotional regulation. When we experience strong feelings like stress, frustration, or even intense joy, our bodies build up internal tension. Crying acts as a release valve for this pressure. Scientists have found that emotional tears contain different chemicals than the tears we produce when we chop an onion. Emotional tears contain stress hormones like cortisol and even natural painkillers called leucine and enkephalin. By crying, the body is literally washing away the physical effects of stress. This is why many people feel a sense of relief or emotional recovery after a good cry. People who cry easily are often just more efficient at clearing out these emotional toxins, allowing them to move forward instead of bottling things up inside. This process helps the heart rate slow down and brings the body back into a state of balance. There is also a strong link between crying and empathy. People who cry easily often have a high level of emotional intelligence. They can put themselves in someone else's shoes and feel what that person is feeling. When they see a character in a movie suffering or hear a friend talk about a difficult time, their brain reacts as if they are experiencing that pain themselves. This deep empathy is a gift because it allows for stronger social bonds and better communication. It means the person is capable of great compassion and kindness. While society might see the tears as a sign of being too soft, they are actually a sign of a heart that is wide open and connected to the collective human experience. These people are often the best listeners and the most reliable friends because they truly understand the weight of an emotion. We must also consider the role of biology and hormones beyond just stress. Our bodies are governed by complex chemical balances. For example, some people have higher levels of prolactin, a hormone that is linked to the production of tears. Others might have lower levels of testosterone, which can sometimes act as an inhibitor for crying. Sleep deprivation also plays a massive role in our emotional threshold. When we are tired, the part of the brain that regulates emotions, the amygdala, becomes overactive and loses its filter. This makes it much harder to keep feelings in check. For some, crying easily is a temporary result of being overwhelmed or exhausted. For others, it might be related to their unique genetic makeup. Regardless of the cause, it is a physical reality of their body's current state and should be respected like any other physical process. History and culture play a huge role in how we perceive crying today. In many ancient cultures, crying was seen as a sign of a great soul. For example, in the epic poems of the past, brave warriors and kings were often described as crying openly when they lost a friend or felt a great injustice. However, during the Industrial Revolution and the rise of modern corporate culture, the idea of the stoic worker became the goal. We began to value the stiff upper lip and the idea of being a machine that does not feel. This has created a modern stigma around crying, especially for men. Because of these cultural expectations, people who cry easily often feel a sense of shame. They might apologize for their tears or try to hide their face. But if we change our perspective, we see that it takes a lot of courage to be vulnerable, to let your true feelings show in a world that often demands a mask of perfection is a profound form of bravery. It shows that you are authentic and honest with yourself and others. Crying can also be a sign of long-term resilience. It sounds strange, but people who allow themselves to cry often bounce back from trauma more quickly. By acknowledging the pain and feeling it fully through tears, they are processing the event in real time. Those who suppress their tears often find that the sadness comes back later in more destructive ways, like sudden anger, anxiety, or even physical illness. Crying is a healthy way to grieve and let go of what no longer serves us. It is a sign that the person is facing their reality instead of running away from it. When a person cries, they are saying that they accept the situation and are ready to move through it. This is the opposite of weakness. It is the foundation of emotional strength. In professional settings, crying is still often viewed as a mistake. However, many modern leaders are starting to realize that emotional expression can be a hidden strength. A person who cries out of frustration or passion for their work is someone who cares deeply about the outcome. They are invested in what they are doing. If we remove the judgment, we see a person who is authentic and dedicated. When we allow space for people to be human at work, we create a more supportive and creative environment where people feel safe to take risks. It is important to remember that crying is not just about sadness. We cry when we are angry because the feeling is too big for words. We cry when we are overwhelmed because we need a moment to reset. We even cry when we are moved by pure beauty, like a sunset or a kind act. It is a universal human language that connects us all. It communicates to others that we need support or that something very important is happening. When we see someone cry, our natural instinct is often to offer comfort. This strengthens the community and reminds us that we are not alone in our journey. Furthermore, crying can be a way to heal old wounds. Sometimes we cry about something small today, but the tears are actually for something big that happened years ago. The brain finds a safe moment to release old pain. This is why some people cry at what seems like nothing. They are finally feeling safe enough to let go of a burden they have carried for a long time. This is a beautiful part of the human healing process. In conclusion, the psychology of people who cry easily is not about weakness at all. It is about deep sensitivity, high empathy, and the healthy processing of life. It is a sign of a finely tuned nervous system and a high capacity for love and connection. Instead of feeling ashamed of tears, we should recognize them as a natural and necessary part of the human experience. tears are a testament to the fact that we are alive, that we feel deeply, and that we have the courage to show our true selves to the world. Being able to cry easily means you are in touch with your inner world, and that is one of the greatest strengths a person can have in a complicated world.